Howdy YouTube. Today I'm going to mount my joiner permanently to my rolling workshop, and it's going to be mounted similar to my planer where it can pull out and then stow away when I'm not using it. Also the feed will be parallel to the table saw and the planer, so that as I'm finishing boards I can just run them through, place them on top of the workbench. Anyhow, that's the project for today. If you want to see how I do this, stick around. Okay, so this is my quick down and dirty design concept. My planer is 13 inches tall, so I need 13 inches of clearance from the top of the drawer to the underside of the workbench for it to go in and out freely. My joiner is also about 10 inches deep, and I need to clear about 10 inches here beside the table saw, so I need about 20 inches total travel so that my drawer is exposed by 10 inches and it can conceal all the way under the workbench. So I'm going to make a frame that's 14 inches tall, and then I'm ultimately going to use 20 or 22 inch drawer glides and build a 10 inch by 14 inch by the entire length of my jointer wide frame. So this is going to make up the mount for the planer that's going to slide in and out on the drawer glides. Next I need to build the frame, so I'm going to go ahead and do that next. So in order to locate the planer and the dimensions of the frame, I need to have the planer sit on this surface, and I need 13 inches total clearance for the planer underneath this surface. The other things I need to look around is I also have to provide clearance for the dust collection coming out of the back of the table saw, and it can move as the carriage for the table saw can't. So as I'm planning this, what I'm seeing is the most simple option. I don't know if you can see my marks right there, but up here is where the planer bed's going to be. Down here is where the base of the planer is going to be as it's mounted on my platform, and then down here is where I need about the bottom of the drawer to be, and essentially where the drawer glides are going to be mounted. So I think what I'm going to do, the easiest thing is to go from this 2x4 over to the far 2x4, and it actually is very close to the bottom of this, so I think I'm just going to find a scrap of plywood and make a stringer strip to go between those, and just mount off of that. And then over here for this side, I'm still determining whether or not I'm going to build the frame from the platform up or hang it from the underside down. Part of what I was originally thinking is I almost wanted to build like a cabinet between the two that I could build some drawers into later. But now that I see how low this whole thing is going to sit, I think I'll just leave it as a shelf underneath, or I can store whatever I need to underneath it. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and cut the strip of plywood for between here and now. So I think the best way to do this is to go and build a frame from the ground up, similar to how I did for the planer mount. And to keep that piece from flexing that way, I'm just going to tie it to this with another board. Then I'm just going to put some pocket holes in and screw it that way, and screw it right into that face. that is success. Just so you get an idea of the clearance. If I do have to run something 6 inches wide, it clears the table saw proper, but it does not clear the miter gauge. So I just have to pull something off, or pull the miter gauge off, and then I just barely clear this. So I'm pretty excited. The jointer mount is all but finished. It functions. It extends fully. The only thing I need to do now is to make a stop so that I can't push the drawer back in as I'm pushing a workpiece in against the fence and getting it through the jointer rather. So anyhow, I need to make a stop. It's going to prevent it from going back in, and then when it's in its home position, I also want to make a stop here to prevent it from just rocking out and extending as I'm moving the workbench around. And also, while I'm at it, I need to make a second stop for the planer mount. You can see here's the first fall away stop that locks it in place, and I still have to make one for this side. You can see that if I only make one, the side that's not locked in can flex, and obviously I want to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and that'll do it for this project. No touch. So these little stops are pretty simple. They're just heavier on this end. They pivot back here. This is counter bored, so that the smooth shank of the screw allows it to rotate. And then I cut a little bit of an angle here, and then all I have to do is mount it such that whenever the glide is maxed out, somewhere along this wedge is in contact with the frame. That way it'll fall down and it'll make contact and butt up against it and won't allow it to push back in, and then I'll just be able to lift it up and away, and it'll glide back on the hinge, or glide back on the rail as it goes in and out, and then it'll automatically drop down into place. Then when it's time to push the drawer back in, just lift up on either side, push it in. And then when you pull it back out, they fall into place, and it's stiff.